Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for October 17th. October 17th is the 290th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 291st in leap years, with 75 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is crenulated. Now, while I was looking this up, I discovered that there's a very similar looking word, crenulated, with an E and one L as is spelled in the U.S., or crenulated with the E and two L's as it's spelled in the U.K. Spell check wants to change my crenulated to crenulated. They're spelled and pronounced slightly differently, so let's take a look at them. Crenulated with the U is an adjective that means having an irregularly wavy or serrate outline, such as a crenulated shoreline. This word comes to us from a Latin word that meant notch. First known use of the word crenulated is 1777. Interestingly, crenulated does not appear in the online etymology dictionary, but that's okay because Merriam-Webster had it. Crenulated with the E is one of those words that uses itself to define itself, at the same time funny and annoying. But the listing says that crenulated means having crenulations. If you're looking this up in Merriam-Webster, it just goes round and round, back and forth. So if you don't happen to know what a crenulation is, then you'll be going around in circles trying to figure it out. Fortunately, the online etymology dictionary does offer a little more clarification for this one. Crenulated, either with one L or two, is also an adjective that means furnished with crenels. And a crenel is an open space on an embattlement. But guess what? This word, crenulated, comes from the same Latin word that means notch. So crenulated with the U is an adjective that means having an irregularly or wavy serrate outline, like a shoreline, first known use 1777. And crenulated with an E is an adjective that means having crenulations, a feature of battlements, which are these classic castle features consisting of the openings, the notches at the top of the wall. First known use in about 1823. I suppose one could conceivably have a crenulated castle surrounded by a crenulated moat. Slightly different spelling, different meanings, but derived from the same Latin source word, and one can easily imagine how they are a little bit related in meaning, crenulated or crenulated. And with that, Kepler's supernova was observed on October 17, 1604 in the constellation Ophiuchus. Louis XIII was crowned French king on October 17, 1610, and I thought, hey, he's bound to be related to Louis XVI, who got a mention yesterday when we talked about Marie Antoinette. So, of course, I looked it up. First of all, they lived about 150 years apart, 7 generations, and every blessed one of them is named Louis. This is the birthday of Jean-Paul Marie Deckers, better known as the Smiling Sister or the Singing Nun. She was a Belgian singer-songwriter and a member of the Dominican Order in Belgium, best known to the rest of the world for her 1963 song Dominique. Unfortunately, a series of misunderstandings and disappointments led her to leave the order, and while she continued to make records, none of them achieved the success of Dominique. In addition, most of her royalties were paid directly to her religious congregation, and the rest went to the record company and the producer, and then someone came forward claiming to have co-written Dominique. About 20 or so years later, in 1985, broke and hopeless, and in a pit of despair, Ms. Deckers and her good friend and roommate took their own lives. She was 51. There has been a book written about her life, a couple of theater plays, and some movies based on her life. Singing Nun, Jean-Paul Marie Deckers. Caravaggio's painting, Nativity with St. Francis and St. Lawrence, was stolen from the oratory of St. Lawrence in Palermo, Italy on October 17, 1969. Caravaggio was a remarkable artist, especially known for his use of an artistic technique called chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro. This is a technique that is less reliant on color, instead using rather intense light and dark in an art piece. This influence can be seen in the works of later artists as well. He had a good eye for a likeness, too. Caravaggio completed somewhere around 100 paintings over the course of about 20 years in mythological, religious, and everyday subjects. Apparently, he was a colorful character in life, passionate and in possession of a hot and sometimes violent temper. He spent the last 4 years of his life on the run because of that temper. But we're here to talk about the stolen painting today. As I mentioned, Nativity with St. Francis and St. Lawrence was stolen from the oratory of St. Lawrence in Palermo, Italy, and that painting is still missing, although a replica was commissioned in 2015. My guess would be that someone wealthy, influential, and willful commissioned the theft and has that painting hidden away somewhere. But I don't really know that, it's just a guess. Today's song is Dominique by Janine Deckers, also known as the Smiling Sister or the Singing Nun. The song is about Saint Dominique, who was a Spanish-born priest and founder of the Dominican order, of which Ms. Deckers was a member. She recorded the top-selling song in French, English, Dutch, German, Hebrew, Japanese, Korean, and Portuguese. It's a sweet little praise song and hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 first week of December in 1963, where it held for all 4 weeks of that month. Dominique by the Singing Nun. Link in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.